Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
Some answers don't need to be guessed at all. Just listen to AKA's smug tone. Meng Ze refocused his gaze on A*****S star system. There are 7 planets in this star system, and in addition to 5 solid planets, 1 is a gas planet and 1 liquid planet. Gas planets and liquid planets are of no use to Meng Ze, and he doesn't need to collect resources. Meng Ze observed for a while and felt that the orbits of the 5 solid planets were quite good, and he was ready to build an observation system from this star system first. Within 100 light years around the local galaxy, solar system, of the blue star, there are many star systems and more planets, but there is no living planet. This star system is naturally the same. According to the standards of the interstellar world, the planets of this star system are all death stars. But Meng Ze only needs to be a solid planet, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Countless new transport assault ships flew out of the various exits of the Stellar-class mothership and landed on the 5 solid planets in this small galaxy. As a Death Star, the environment is all particularly harsh. High temperature of hundreds of degrees, low temperature of more than 100 and 200 degrees is a common thing, and some are also toxic gas, corrosion, and the like. However, as a 6th-level civilization, one energy shield technology can solve most problems. Not to mention Meng Ze's shield technology is still one of the best. There are no mines in the real world, and Meng Ze sent engineers just to lay the foundation and level the land. Wait until the foundation is laid, and then let AKA teleport out the buildings in the interstellar world and create voids in the real world like spawning warships. The buildings to be transmitted by Meng Ze are observational and surveillance, such as hyperspace observatories, cosmic star observatories, starry sky detection micron radars, and hyperspace optical detection radars. He will not arrange all the observation buildings for each planet, and there may be at least 1 or as many as 4 for a planet, mainly depending on the needs. For example, the Hyperspace Observatory and the Cosmic Star Observatory, this small galaxy, can arrange 1 starry sky detection micron radar and hyperspace optical detection radar. In order to avoid detecting dead ends, a planet must be arranged several. As for defense, only a small number of planetary troops will remain on the ground, mainly relying on space warships and Radiance-class superfortresses. The reason is also obvious. The Death Star does not have a strong planetary force field shield, and the ground forces can only be slaughtered by others in the face of the attack of space warships. As for the dimensional force field shield, this can be set, but the dimensional force field shield can only defend against ultra-long-range attacks, at least tens of millions of kilometers away. If it is close, millions of kilometers away, the strength of the dimensional force field shield is too weak, and it will not have an effect at all. This is not a defect of the dimensional force field shield, but the battle of the 6th-level civilization is rarely solved so closely, and the Relic Zerg is an exception. The real world isn't built as fast as the interstellar world, but it's definitely not slow. Meng Ze estimates that the foundation construction of so many buildings is estimated to take only 2 or 3 days. This is not only because the engineering troops have high operational efficiency, but also because all the construction is dispatched by the brain, and more than 100,000 operating units can be done in good order. Meng Ze thinks of his Blue Star's homeland, and is recognized as a Blue Star infrastructure madman. At this time, compared to these engineering soldiers under his command, it is naturally far behind, but I don't know if Blue Star will become a cosmic infrastructure madman when he reaches the advanced civilization. As for whether Blue Star can be upgraded to an advanced civilization, Meng Ze feels that as long as he has his own escort, there is no problem. The only question is whether I will survive until then. In addition to the A*** star system, Meng Ze also selected the 5 star systems A***, 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 and A** as its new monitoring points. These monitoring points, located exactly 6 directions, plane 4 plus below, are all around 100 light-years away, shrouding the solar system in its center. With the ability of a 6th-tier battleship to operate up to 5,000 light-years per Blue Star, support will soon arrive no matter which direction it hits. And when Meng Ze has more fleets in the interstellar world, he will recruit more warships into the galaxy until the star field around the blue star is built like an iron barrel. Doing this, Meng Ze suddenly thought that what he did today may not be visible to the blue star people 100 years later, and he doesn't know if he can be regarded as a behind-the-scenes hero. However, Meng Ze will definitely not wait until 100 years later for the blue star people to notice, and when the time is right, Meng Ze will take the initiative to expose himself, open a window to the blue star, and also give the blue star people some sense of crisis so as not to do some eagles and chickens and the like every day in the blue star. Leaving the monitoring of the fleet and the construction of the planet to the small card, Meng Ze, dressed in the regular uniform issued by the Imperial Federation, changed to a style on the blue star and prepared to pick up his girlfriend. It was the weekend and Vivi made an appointment with him and came to his house. It is said that the girl has been running more and more diligently recently, and I don't know what reason to prevaricate Luo's father and mother. At the corner intersection outside the Lock neighborhood, Meng Ze picked up his girlfriend, but soon after the car took off, Meng Ze sensed that someone was following him. Meng Ze now has better eyesight than a goshawk, and he can tell at a glance through the mirror that the person is Father Locke. Meng Ze mused for a while, feeling that some things should be faced head-on, and that always avoiding was not the way. Then in a dozen directions, the car was parked in front of a coffee house. "Brother Xiaobai, are you going to take me for coffee?" The girl hugged Meng Ze's arm affectionately and looked at Meng Ze. "Wait a minute, see someone." "See who?" Luo Wei asked curiously. "Your dad," Meng Ze said calmly. My dad." Luo Wei suddenly felt like a thunderbolt on a sunny day in her mind. "Don't worry, it's all with me." Meng Ze patted Luo Wei and comforted. Meng Ze then walked towards an old-fashioned crown not far away. Father Luo watched Meng Ze walking towards his car and was slightly shocked. Could it be that this kid found out about my tracking? Looking carefully at Meng Ze, I found that Meng Ze looks straight, has a handsome and slender figure, and his steps are not fast but very even, giving people a calm and reliable feeling. Even if it was his own daughter who fell in love with him early, Father Luo had to secretly praise a good young man. Meng Ze gently knocked on the car window, and when Luo's father lowered the window, Meng Ze said politely, "Uncle Luo, can you please have a cup of coffee?" "You know me?" Luo Xiang was stunned. "I saw Uncle Luo when you were dropping off Luo Wei at the airport, but it was inconvenient to disturb at that time, so I couldn't see him." 39. "Then it's convenient now." The kid in front of him spoke without humility or arrogance, without the slightest consciousness of abducting his own daughter. Luo Xiang did not give Meng Ze a good face. "It just so happened that I met today, and I felt it was necessary to give Uncle Luo an explanation and an explanation." "Well, I'll hear what you have to say." "Uncle Locke, please." Meng Ze leaned forward slightly to lead the way, while waving at the girl. Luo Wei grinded forward and shouted, "Dad." Luo Xiang looked at his daughter, really loving and angry, want to scold in public, hurt his daughter's self-esteem, and he was even more reluctant to beat. In the end, I could only snort. Finding a corner to sit in the coffee house, Meng Ze called the waiter, asked Locke's father's opinion, and asked for 3 cups of coffee. Father Luo did not deliberately embarrass Meng Ze at this time. He really wanted to know what was going on between his daughter and this young man. After the waiter brought coffee and left, Meng Ze introduced himself. "Uncle Luo, my name is Meng Ze, 24 years old. My home is also in Taiyuan, just over there in the Jinyuan community of the 3rd Ring Road." After that, "How the hell are you with my daughter?" Father Luo interrupted directly. "Uncle Luo, the specific situation is like this." Meng Ze saw that Luo's father was impatient, so he directly talked about the ins and outs of his relationship with Luo Wei. "You two have been talking for so long?" Father Luo felt that he was so angry that his brain hurt. According to this stinky boy named Meng Ze, the two have known each other on the internet for almost 2 years. "At first, my daughter was afraid that she was not yet 16 years old. If the age is not clear on the internet, it is understandable. But after meeting, can't you see that your daughter is young? And it is clear that this kid is interested in taking advantage of his daughter." Meng Ze knew what he was most worried about as a parent, and did not wait for Luo's father to continue to speak, and said directly, Uncle Luo, I have a deep relationship with Wei Wei. I know what parents are most worried about. I don't have any idea of deceiving Wei Wei. I will marry her, and I also have the ability to give Vivi a lifetime of happiness. If Uncle Locke has any questions, I will reply to you until you are satisfied. Well, let me ask you, Vivi is so young. You are with her. How do you ensure that her studies are not affected? Father Luo asked sharply. Uncle Luo, don't you know this best? Ever since I was with Vivi, her grades have skyrocketed. Meng Ze's answer made Luo's father stunned. And then thinking about the time Meng Ze said about the time the two were dating before, he found that he asked a stupid question. How is this possible? Father Luo was momentum. One of the problems of early love, which parents worry about the most, has proven to be not a problem at all. It was my relationship with Vivi that made Vivi grow, and since we got along, she has worked harder and harder in her studies, which has led to such changes. Meng Ze said in a serious way. Luo Wei on the side pinched her thighs hard, so that she must not laugh, and the tension and fear in her heart certainly disappeared for a while. Well, even if Wei Wei's studies are not affected, you are so young. How can you ensure your future? Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have a reliable source of income? After speaking, Father Luo remembered Meng Ze's crown and immediately added, Do you want to rely on your parents for a lifetime? Uncle Luo, what you said is not a problem. I have a car and a house. I bought it myself. I have enough financial management ability, and economic problems are the least worrying. 35 Meng Ze said confidently. What is a crown diddle? Jingyuan's houses are all outside the Third Ring Road, and they are not good houses. As for your economic strength, who will brag about? Father Luo retorted one by one. Dad, Brother Xiaobai's house is 180 square meters. Luo Wei couldn't help but interject next to him. 180 flat? Luo Xiang was shocked in his heart. Although Luo Xiang has not paid much attention to housing prices recently, the general room type can have 180 square meters, at least high-end communities. To say the least, it is 3 million or more. No, didn't I come to stop them? Consider the room rate. Luo Xiang felt that his thoughts were off track. Housing aside, what about stable financial resources? In addition, Vivi has at least 5 years to study. How do you prove that you can have a stable relationship? Father Luo asked. Uncle Luo, the latter question, I don't know how to prove it. Vivi must believe me. So be it, I will give you a condition to make you feel at ease. Meng Ze said, You say, you and your aunt open a bank account, and I will deposit 100 million yuan into it, which is my dowry to Wei Wei. No matter what the future holds, this fund is at your disposal. 99. 100 million? Boy, don't blow the cowhide so big. Luo Xiang was a little frightened at first, and then felt that Meng Ze was bragging. Believe it or not, Uncle Luo will naturally know when he opens an account. Seeing Meng Ze's vows, Luo Xiang didn't know what to say for a while. Others took 100 million to prove their feelings with their daughter, and also promised to marry Wei Wei, which made him oppose it. If you talk about age and strongly oppose it, what kind of attitude your daughter will have is not easy to say. Even if the opposition, Zhao Qian's, is successful, you can really meet better ones in the future. A rich second generation like you treats feelings like grass. What should you do if you cheat on Wei Wei? Father Luo finally struggled and said, Uncle Luo, first of all, I am a rich generation, and secondly, Vivi is my first love. I am not as bad as you say. Meng Ze solemnly justified himself. Luo Xiang looked at Meng Ze for a while and sighed. Well, I believe you. I hope you can always be good to Wei Wei. As for the money you said, if you have a heart, save it for Wei Wei. Uncle Luo, please rest assured I will always cherish Wei Wei. In addition, that fee, or according to what I said before, you can open an account and save it, and rest assured, let Vivi give me the account number. In my heart, Vivi is far from being replaced by money. 35. Seeing Meng Ze's insistence, Luo Xiang nodded. Meng Ze's attitude really made him feel more at ease. 100 million is astronomical for the Luo family, but Luo Xiang has not yet reached the point of selling his daughter. He is in his early 40s, has a stable job, a happy family, and values his family more than money. Vivi, are you going back with me now? Luo Xiang stood up and asked his daughter. Dad, can I be with Brother Xiaobai? We spend very little time together. Luo Wei said a little pleadingly. Looking at his daughter's appearance, Luo Xiang has a feeling that the little cabbage has grown up and is about to become someone else's family. Well, go home early in the evening. This is Father Luo's last insistence. Meng Ze pulled Luo Wei to stand up and sent Luo Xiang to the car. Luo Xiang wanted to say when Meng Ze's parents would gradually become Meng Ze, but thinking about his daughter's age, he finally did not speak. After getting into the car, Luo Xiang nodded at the two and drove away. After Luo's father left, Luo Wei suddenly jumped into Meng Ze's arms and said in surprise, "Little white brother, my father agrees with us, right?" Uncle should agree, or at least acquiesce. It depends on the aunt's side. In addition, what I just said, you send me the bank card account number early after you go back. You know I don't lack money, but your parents need this trust. Meng Ze kissed the girl on the cheek and admonished. Okay, little white brother, let's go. The girl's whole body became brisk. Coming to Meng Ze's house, the girl can't wait to play in the interstellar world, although she has been there several times. But the novelty has not diminished in the slightest. Arriving at the command center, Meng Ze changed into an operational command uniform. Little white brother, every time I see you change this kind of clothes, I feel so novel. Luo Wei's eyes are shining. Huh? This kind of clothes can't be given to you. This is for the commander's command, but the kind of regular clothes I wear in Blue Star can give you a set. Do you want it? Meng Ze teased Luo Wei. I want me, that dress is amazing. After spending a long time with Meng Ze, and everything happened to the two, the girl's lively nature was released. Meng Ze asked Xiao Ka to send a regular dress, let the girl change it on the spot, and then explain to her in detail the functions and how to use the clothes. The girl immediately fell in love. For girls, it's like having a wardrobe with unlimited clothing. 780. When using it, pay attention to it, but don't tell others. If others ask, just say that I helped you buy a lot of clothes. Okay, little white brother. Meng Ze then asked Luo Wei to arrange it herself and start checking the progress in all aspects. In order to avoid the girl's boredom, Meng Ze will also project a small number of pictures to the big screen so that the girl can get a general idea of what Meng Ze is doing. If the whole picture is projected, it will be too much for the eye to see. Those fourth-level warships of Meng Ze still have not thought of a good way to deal with them, and their power is insufficient and their ability to move is poor, which has no effect on sixth-level players at all. In the end, Meng Ze decided to teleport all to the galaxy, perhaps as a little deterrent. When Meng Ze was operating, Luo Wei did not leave, staring at the big screen beside him, dazzled. The picture that crossed the scene was even more exciting than the hottest blockbuster of Blue Star. After all, no matter how cool the movie is, Luo Wei knows that it is fake, but everything here is true, and it is more majestic than the picture in the movie. Although she really wants to know what her boyfriend, future husband, is doing now, Luo Wei is very obedient and does not bother Meng Ze. Meng Ze read everything, and everything went in an orderly manner, and praised Xiao Ka in his heart. At this time, a familiar communication was sent. Old man of the Meng family? Meng Ze was shocked. Immediately let the small card open the side door of the command center. Inside was Meng Ze's lounge, and signaled for Luo Wei to avoid first. After Luo Wei left, Meng Ze connected to Meng Xiaowen's communication. Grandpa, Meng Ze exclaimed. For this old man, he was still very grateful, and the other party solved his trouble in replacing the identity family with a word. Meng Ze also went out of his way to learn about the life of this old man. Not to mention, it was really a great character. Graduated from the regular military academy of the Empire, he went from a first-class captain to a 3-star general, during which he participated in no less than 10,000 wars. The most powerful thing is that at the beginning, the top level of the Imperial Federation was controlled by the Star Spirit clan, and the foundation of the entire Imperial Federation was shaken, and it was about to be torn apart. It was this old man who risked the world's condemnation and commanded the warship to directly enter the atmosphere of the Emperor's Star. And the naval artillery deterred and strongly suppressed everyone. Then arranged for the Marine Corps, to forcibly send those high-ranking federal officials with separatist tendencies into the interstellar world for testing, and kill them on the spot when they find problems. Among those high-ranking people, some are naturally puppets of the Star Spirit clan, but some of them just have that kind of idea or are deceived. In this operation, although the old man made great contributions, there were also countless sinners. At the same time, because of the unprecedented use of battleships to forcibly break into the Emperor's Star, although there was a reason for the incident, in the end, the old man still had to resign on his own and take a back seat from the position of 3-star admiral. Although the military power was lost, old Master Meng's prestige in the military reached its peak. Now, hundreds of years later, there is still a strong influence. If Meng Ze takes the initiative to expose his identity as a Meng family, he will be given preferential treatment in terms of promotion and meritorious service. But Meng Ze doesn't want to be too deeply involved with the Meng family. Owes people cause and effect, and always has to pay it back. Across the big screen. The more Meng Shaoan looked at Meng Ze, the more he liked it, and now the Meng family finally came out with another unicorn. Ozawa, you were promoted to a formal commander. Grandpa failed to congratulate you at the first time. There is no resentment against Grandpa. Meng Shaoan said, how come? It's just a first-level commander. It's not a big deal. Well, good, not arrogant, not impetuous, farsighted. Your future is much more than a first-class commander. You just know it. Meng Shaoan said with satisfaction. I wonder why Grandpa sent the communication this time. Meng Ze asked, can I look at my Meng family chilliner? Meng Shaoan pretended not to like it. It is also difficult for this old man who has been in the limelight for most of his life, for fear that Meng Ze does not have a strong sense of belonging to the family, and forced the family owner not to disturb Meng Ze, and he took on the affairs of attracting Meng Ze's feelings. Meng Ze is not stupid, naturally saw Meng Shaoan's purpose, and felt a little emotional and a little helpless. In this situation, it is impossible to turn your face. I didn't want to be too involved with the Meng family, but he kept cutting and chaotic, replacing the identity of Meng Ze of the Imperial Federation, and this fetter was really difficult to untie. If only it were that kind of family that doesn't hesitate, Meng Ze said to himself. In that case, he could turn his face in minutes. Next, Meng Ze told Meng Shaoan about his recent situation in the interstellar world, including the unusual promotion and follow-up mission arrangement in the interstellar world, his recent actions, and so on. To be honest, apart from these, Meng Ze really doesn't know what to say to this old man, and he can't really pretend to be a well-behaved grandson. But it is not useless to say this. The old man has been fighting horses all his life, and he can see the problem of this promotion at a glance. Ozawa, it seems that someone has given you a lot of strength behind your back this promotion, and it stands to reason that your merits are not worthy of such a high rank. 35. It should be the help of the Dream Star Night Glow. Meng Ze knows this very well. Dream Star Night Glow? The old man obviously did not know the names of these interstellar games. It should be called Huang Du, third-class colonel. Meng Ze said, Emperor Star Huang family, eldest grandson. As soon as he said the name, the old man knew it at once. The Emperor Star Huang family is a first-class big family. If you want, you can interact with them a lot, and you can help each other in the future. Grandpa, we have a good relationship. Meng Ze is not yet comfortable with this direct stake. Meng Shaoan also saw it, but he did not ask Meng Ze to change. This kind of exchange of interests for the commander is naturally good, and it does not matter if it is not. After all, everything that the commander has to take back from the battlefield in the end. Brother Xiaobai? Who was that just now? Meng Ze gave Luo Wei permission to see the outside in the lounge, but could not hear the two of them. This is alien. 35 Meng Ze wittily said. Huh? Is this no different from us Blue Star people? Luo Wei said in surprise. I told you that some of them are no difference. You have to see that there are differences, 35. Meng Ze suddenly released pictures of the Amber people and interstellar zergs to Luo Wei. Little white brother, you are dead, so scary. Luo Wei punched Meng Ze's chest with a small fist and said unwillingly, Huh, that's what you have to look at. Meng Ze put his arm around the girl spun around, and then quickly changed into his regular clothes. Brother Xiaobai, are we going back? 5. Of course, we have something to do. 35. Huh? What can't be done here? The girl looked confused. Meng Ze put her mouth to the girl's ear and whispered a word, and the girl immediately turned red. Let's go. Don't let the little cards see. It will bring bad children. As soon as he hugged the girl, the two disappeared from the command center in an instant. It's just a reproduction of life when no one has seen it, and it is so troublesome. It takes two people. How can we separate ourselves is simple. In the command center, the muttering of small cards reverberates. Luo Wei stayed at Meng Ze's house until dinner was almost dinner, which was the result of Meng Ze's persuasion. This time, Meng Ze sent Luo Wei directly to the door of her community. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Mother Luo sitting in the living room staring at her with a straight face. Mom! 55. Luo Wei exclaimed a little nervously. Okay, if your father doesn't see it, how long are you going to hide it from us? Mother Luo looked at her daughter angrily. Mom, people aren't afraid you won't agree. The girl turned her mind, sat directly next to Mother Luo, hugged her, and said coquettishly, Don't give me this set. I'll tell you, if you don't explain it clearly today, you will definitely not pass the pass. He said that he would not eat this set, but the breath in his heart dissipated a lot. Be sure to tell your mother everything. Luo Wei raised her hand and assured. Then he said the process of communication with Meng Ze again, from Luo Wei's point of view, although the statement is a little different, but the general is the same as what Meng Ze said. You really are. You are not afraid of meeting a liar. Mother Luo said to her daughter angrily and worriedly. Mom, I'm careful. I've been going with Lingling before. The first time I went to Xiaobai's house, I also brought Lingling's brother. You know how tall Lingling's brother is? Luo Wei explained. What's the use of these? Others really want to harm you. You can't prevent it. 99. Knowing Mom, I won't look for anyone else in the future anyway. Luo Wei said. You really are, and the little girl doesn't know shame. Mother Luo scolded Luo Wei and then asked, What is your little white brother's name? Can you really give you 100 million? Mom, the little white brother is called Meng Ze. He is very good at finance. There is no shortage of money. When he came back, he also told me to give him the account number as soon as possible, and I must make my mother feel at ease. Luo Wei said, Count this kid a little conscience. Mother Luo had heard Father Luo say it before, but she couldn't believe it, so she asked her daughter to confirm it again. Do you know how much money he has? Mother Luo obviously listened to this. Mom, why are you asking this? Luo Wei pouted. Isn't Mom afraid that you will be deceived? Mother Luo said. Mom, don't ask anyway. Brother Bai doesn't hide anything from me. He will definitely take 100 million. You give me the bank card, I will send it to Brother Bai, and when he turns it around, you will believe it. Although Meng Ze didn't mention it, the girl still felt that even her mother couldn't say anything about it. Okay, it's really a daughter who is older. Mother Luo got up and went into the house, took the bank card out and handed it to her daughter. The bank card belonged to Mother Luo, and Luo Wei patted it directly to Meng Ze, and then attached the account information. Such a large amount of transfer will naturally alarm the bank. However, Meng Ze's card has privileges, and it is not in Interbank, so after the bank confirms it, it arrives in less than half an hour. Mother Luo has not yet received the bank collection information, but first received a call from the bank commissioner. Mother Luo, who had never enjoyed this treatment, was more satisfied than ever under the various flattery and compliments of the bank commissioner. 0. Beg for flowers. Hang up the phone and receive a text message from the bank on the phone. Seeing that series of zeros, Mother Luo was like being in a dream. Luo Wei has no feeling about this. How can she see Meng Ze's Starfleet? How can she look at this money? Maybe for Brother Xiaobai, money is the least valuable thing, but it's a pity that you can't send a battleship. The girl thought in her heart that if Meng Ze sent the battleship to her family, her parents were stunned and couldn't help but laugh, causing Luo's mother to roll her eyes. Meng Ze's home. After transferring the money, Meng Ze thought of his parents, and he didn't call back for a long time, and his younger brother should have graduated, and he didn't know what the situation was now. Dialing Meng Tan's phone, Meng Ze asked directly about the situation at home. 0. Brother, the family is fine. My parents don't want to go to the city. I bought the Arbor family's house, plus the original vacant land of the family, ready to build a farmhouse. I have contracted the fish pond of Mrs. Chen's house for 30 years at a time, and I am ready to tidy it up, and when the time comes, I can engage in some leisure activities such as fishing. Meng Ze doesn't care if his brother's farmhouse can make money. Just make sure the family is doing well. What about Lulu? Meng Ze asked. She's here now, and when I graduated, I want to see your parents. Meng Tan replied. That's good. Take care of your parents. You can do whatever else you want. Don't worry about not having enough money. I'll transfer you another 100 million later. In addition, after a while, I will arrange 2 guys for you. You don't have to pay them. I will arrange their expenses. 99. Meng Ze is ready to arrange 2 cyborgs to his parents, which is a guarantee. As for identity or something, please aka just get it. Brother, if you give so much money, there won't be any problem with your funds over there, right? Meng Tan asked worriedly. No, I won't worry. Brother just can't get away from something. Then Meng Ze had another phone call with his parents. When I grew up, I actually talked less with my parents, and many things were difficult to say. However, Meng Ze will not be impatient, but will only feel warm. Children travel thousands of miles for parents to worry. Thousands of families are not so with. Time flies. Meng Ze was preoccupied with his fleet sent to the Kalabari Hill Nebula and was about to reach its destination. The Kalabari Mountain Nebula is immense and shaped like a mountain. 3 6th-level bosses surrounded the relic Zerg group, cutting off the Zerg's path to the Kalabari Mountain Nebula. However, the Zerg built a bloody wormhole, similar to the Terran Stargate, on the edge of Kalabari Mountain and stationed a large number of troops to garrison. And from this as the center, start exploring the Kalabari Mountain Nebula. I don't know for what reason, the relic Zerg did not break through from the Kalabari Mountain Nebula. The Imperial Federation also never forcibly attacked the bloody wormhole of the relic Zerg in Kalabari Mountain, but only arranged personnel in various positions to guard. The 2 sides have maintained a certain tacit understanding here. 780 Meng Ze wants to cut into the direction of the blood wormhole. Of course, the distance will be a little farther, and Meng Ze hasn't tried to find death yet. Looking closely at the nebula, you can't actually see much difference with the starry sky, because the material in it is actually not much from a small unit scale. But when the scale is extended to millions, tens of millions of kilometers, or even farther, the difference can be clearly felt. Meng Ze's fleet began with normal space navigation, and the fleet felt great navigational resistance, which increased exponentially with increasing speed. Meng Ze tried, inside the nebula. You can also perform space jumps, but the perception ability is limited, and the speed must be controlled, otherwise it is likely that there will be no time to react in the event of an unexpected situation. The fleet's dimensional force field shield was unstable as soon as it entered the nebula region, and Meng Ze gave up after only testing it. The energy field shield, after testing the original recovery ability of up to 10% per minute, entering the nebula area, was weakened to 6%, and the remaining 4% was offset by various hazards, and this is not fixed. The deeper it goes, the weaker it is. Almost every 20 light years deepened, the amount of weakening increased by 1%, up to 9%. No wonder the legendary class battleship came in and could only stay on the edge, because the recovery ability of the legendary class battleship is only 5% in total, and if you go deep, the amount of recovery is not comparable to the speed of weakening, and the reduction is the shield body. In terms of detection capabilities, it has also been affected to varying degrees, with hyperspace optical detection technology being the most affected, followed by hyperspace disturbance detection, and the least affected being the starry micron detection radar. There is some difference between the detection distance and the fact that there is only 5 light years, as the big guy said for a moment, and the impact of just entering the nebula region is not so serious. But as the fleet deepens, it is affected more and more. As for the big guy saying 5 light years, it may have something to do with his habit of staying in the depths of the nebula region. Soon after Meng Ze entered the nebula, he began to sail through dimensional space at a daily speed of 100 light-years. Compared with the outside world, the dimensional space stability in the nebula is very poor, almost every 1 or 2 light-years. Meng Ze encounters dimensional storms, and large dimensional storms can even cover a distance of several light-years. Fortunately, Meng Ze's battleships have a high carrying capacity and can withstand the wind and rain of dimensional space. Dozens of light-years away, Meng Ze discovered hundreds of planets, but they were either oversized or wasted. He even found a 6th-level player fleet with a total of dozens of ships, which looked like they had come to pick up leaks, and when they encountered the Zerg, this fleet was not enough to stuff their teeth. The player was visibly taken aback when he saw Meng Ze's huge fleet, and actually sent Meng Ze a warning area message. Meng Ze also remembered the name of this particularly timid player. The white shirt is as cold as water. After Meng Ze expressed his gratitude, their fleet staggered by a distance of several light-years. This position is already 50 light-years away from the nebula. According to what Meng Ze knows, further inside, it is basically not a place where the legendary fleet can survive. Of course, it is no problem to go deep for an hour or two once in a while. As the fleet went deeper, Meng Ze began to discover planets more frequently, but Meng Ze also found a problem. The fleet is heavily disturbed in the nebula, and the perception accuracy is greatly affected, and Meng Ze cannot distinguish the size of the detected planet unless it is within a light-year range. Often the fleet circled for tens of minutes, and encountered either a waste star or a planet with a diameter of more than 100. Or, are you a little more daring? Meng Ze said heartily. Although finding the planet is his primary goal, it is also his purpose to make trouble. As soon as you think of it, Meng Ze directly spaced the fleet by 1 light-year, lined up circle after circle, forming multiple rings, and the range of accurate search was greatly increased by 0. Once a suitable size planet is discovered, Meng Ze arranges for a destroyer to speed up the reconnaissance to confirm the type of planet. In this way, 3 hours later, Meng Ze had his first harvest. It's actually a high-growth life planet. Meng Ze had a beaming look on his face, and for him personally, a high-growth living planet is more useful than a Death Star resource star or a small life planet resource star. Although Akka has mastered the authority of the interstellar world, it is not good to act rashly for the fundamental rules, not because he cannot move, but because the consequences of moving are too serious. There are too many accidental natural factors in the interstellar world, just like the kind of program that runs by accident. It's good that it doesn't move, and it's all bugs when you change it. It is easy to judge the planet of life, as long as the life factors, proteins, nucleic acids can be detected from the planet where it was born. As for growth, it is really a judgment on the strength of the core energy field of the star's seed. For level 6 players, none of this is difficult, but it just needs to be detected up close. The living planet was already 20 kilometers in diameter at this time. Meng Ze stopped the entire fleet first, arranged for a star-class mothership to approach the planet, opened the oversized hatch originally used to load the battleship, and retreated little by little until the entire planet was loaded into the stomach and fixed. This position is not too deep, considering the fierce battle he may have fought with the relic Zerg. Meng Ze directly sent 10 destroyers and 1 battleship to escort the mothership back. As long as 3.5 does not encounter the relic Zerg, this configuration is not very dangerous. The only players who can pose a threat are level 6 players, but level 6 players are at least reserve commanders, and it is impossible to attack each other. So Meng Ze is not too worried about this journey. With the harvest of the first planet, Meng Ze was shocked and continued to probe inside. After another 10 hours, a second high-growth life planet was harvested. Originally, Meng Ze also found 2 Death Stars that could grow into large stars, but he was useless and gave up. A small number of warships were still sent to escort them back. The fleet moves on. Suddenly, the Prism-class battlefield monitoring ship detected a spatial fluctuation. This fluctuates intermittently because of interference. 10 light-years away, is it the relic Zerg? Although the mind has made up its mind to check it out. But Meng Ze first asked Xiao Ka to evaluate the space situation of the nebula based on the return data. Space stability 0.8. Meng Ze takes the stability of space outside the nebula as 1, which is not bad for comparison. Measure the speed of the other party. Meng Ze commanded. They travel 200 light-years. Seeing this result, Meng Ze split a destroyer and moved forward 5 light-seconds ahead, and the main fleet immediately converged and followed, increasing the fleet's speed to 500 light-years per day. This speed is very dangerous to navigate in the nebula, so there must be a battleship in front of the road. What the hell are the relic Zerg doing? This speed doesn't look like it's looking for planet seeds at all. It took more than 20 minutes for Meng Ze to get closer to within 5 light-years of the other party. And at this time, the fluctuations of the dimensional space jump voyage were very stable and clearly visible. Merely, what if for me? Why are there so many? 95. Just from the strength and width of the spatial trajectory, it can be clearly judged that this is definitely a super brigade of the relic Zerg, at least the main force of the Zerg of more than 1 million levels. The Zerg troops obviously also discovered Meng Ze's fleet and directly changed direction in the dimensional space and flew towards Meng Ze's fleet. What to do? Meng 05 Ze's heart turned sharply. A direct retreat is impossible. This is not Meng Ze's style of doing things, and he is not afraid of the loss of the fleet. The ruined Zerg suddenly appeared here on such a large scale. Obviously, there is some action. If it can defeat it is best. If it is not possible, it may be useful to interfere for a while. Moreover, Meng Ze also has the killer trick of space curing, and this area also meets the requirements of using space curing, and the rest is nothing more than how to operate. Meng Ze suddenly thought of the situation when he encountered the relic Zerg for the first time, and his mind moved, and the tactic of repeatedly jumping in dimensional space and positive space seemed to be very suitable for his own use. The relic Zerg also seemed to be worried about Meng Ze's escape and quickly increased the speed of dimensional space flight. As the distance closer, Meng Ze discovers that there are more Zerg troops than he had previously estimated, a full 8 million. On Meng Ze's side, there are only more than 300,000 warships. There are 5 Zerg classes in this Zerg force. In addition to the Void Advanced King Worm and Leviathan that Meng Ze has seen, there are 3 other Zerg that Meng Ze has never seen. The Wisdom Brain card instantly displayed the information of the 3 Zerg races in Meng Ze's mind. Zerg Insect Tide Lord, 500 million vitality, 3 billion dimensional shield. No shield at this time. 6th level Relic Zerg Auxiliary Control Field type troops with positive space interference, dimensional space interference, dimensional force field shield blessing, dimensional space trajectory detection, space detection, and other capabilities. The Zerg Primordial Multi-Headed Dragon, with 500 million vitality and 3 billion dimensional shields. Zerg Long Range Attack Class, attack distance 1 light-year. Zerg Void Master, 1 billion vitality, 5 billion dimensional shields. High Armor Attack Type, attack distance 1 light-year. Attack has a strong interference effect on the dimensional force field shield, can weaken the dimensional force field shield recovery power. 1 assist, 2 long range, but slightly shorter than the battleships of the Imperial Federation. Meng Ze suddenly had a bottom in his heart. 3 minutes later, the distance between the 2 sides had narrowed to 2 light-years. Fire! Meng Ze's battleship group shook in unison, and countless cannon fire flew out in an instant, and the powerful energy of the black hole cannon tore the entire dimensional space on the path into pieces. The Zerg did not have any dodging movements, because there was no dimensional shield, and it completely relied on the Zerg's brutal flesh to resist Meng Ze's attacks. But Meng Ze's attack was not so resistant, and under 1 round of attacks, more than 50,000 Zerg bodies were shredded and immediately swallowed by dimensional space. But this loss, for the size of the Zerg troops, is only a drop in the bucket. Special. If Lao Tzu didn't know that you were a hanger, he would have thought you had lost a lot. Meng Ze clearly knows that the mysterious class of the Zerg is produced with rare resources. However, no matter how small the mosquito legs are, they are also meat. Fire. Fire. 35. Meng Ze attacked 2 more rounds in a row, once again destroying the more than 100,000 troops of the Relic Zerg. A light-year. Just when the Relic Zerg troops began to condense their attack energy, The Void Advanced King Worm and Leviathan also accelerated instantly. Meng Ze's fleet, a flash, disappeared from dimensional space. "I'll see if you come out or not," Meng Ze said heartily. Subsequently, the Prism-class battlefield monitoring ship detected that the Zerg directly launched an attack in the dimensional space. Meng Ze was in no hurry. The fleet was in positive space, accelerating towards the Zerg troops. The attack is about to arrive, and Meng Ze has the Prism-class battlefield monitoring ship directly turn on space reinforcement. The Zerg's attacks were denser than raindrops because they couldn't penetrate the reinforced space wall. Most of them directly crossed Meng Ze's fleet, flew into the distance, and some exploded in place, setting off a small range of super-dimensional storms in dimensional space. 89 War Zone, the forbidden land of the relics of the Zerg. Abelik's ugly and cute giant face, who was directing the battle, revealed a confused expression. Originally, this Zerg unit was prepared to support the forward troops. Meng Ze didn't know that just over 100 light years ahead, for a moment the fleet that was not confused was competing with the Zerg for a higher life planet resource star. Fighting was fierce on both sides, and both began to call for support in the rear. Because the relic Zerg side is closer, there is a moment when the big guy who is not confused is at a disadvantage. However, Meng Ze helped the boss block this wave of support from the relic Zerg. When the relic Zerg discovered Meng Ze's fleet, Abelik thought that it would be easy to solve him. After all, the size of the two forces was too different. But at this time, the sudden situation made Abelik feel a little bad. What happened next proved Abelik's hunch. The artillery fire could not penetrate, and naturally his troops could not get by. Abelik wanted to ignore the Meng Ze 780 fleet, but the disgusting thing was that as long as he let the troops leave Meng Ze's fleet for a distance, the other party immediately lifted the space solidification, and a wave of attacks directly penetrated over. Several times in a row, Abelik lost more than 100,000 troops. But as long as Abelik stayed in the mirror dimension space of the positive space where the Meng Ze fleet was located, Meng Ze kept the space open and solidified, and it was so consumed. While involving the relic Zerg, Meng Ze sent a message to the 3 6th level commander bosses, reporting the size of the Zerg troops and the original operation direction, wanting to see if the bosses knew what the situation was. For a moment, the communication of the big guy who was not confused came at the first time. Little brother Meng Ze, you have done me a great favor. Just over 100 light years away from you, I and the relic Zerg are at war." For a moment, I was very happy not to be confused, and the original star of a higher life planet resource was about to lose contact with me. But I didn't expect to have an unexpected joy. "Big guy, how much time do you need? I'm afraid that the relic Zerg will divide the troops." Meng Ze voiced his concerns. "The Zerg are not stupid. Meng Ze's forces are just that. As long as the other party divides the troops and leaves a part to monitor Meng Ze cannot move." Meng Ze found that his tactics were still flawed, and he had to find ways to improve them later. "Don't worry. Now that you know the number and location of the Zerg support forces, there is no threat. When it moves, you inform me of the other party's navigational information, and I am ready to set up an ambush halfway and fight it in a wave. The big guy is the big guy. There is a solution in an instant, and he wants to take the initiative." Killer and Cassandra War later returned with news. The two bigwigs were not in the area at this time, and replied to the message asking Meng Ze if he needed help. After Meng Ze refused, he also relaxed and worked with the relic Zerg. Abelik obviously didn't have as much patience as Meng Ze, and within a few minutes, he began to divide his troops, leaving about 500,000 relic Zerg troops, and the other troops began to head towards the battlefield. Meng Ze immediately sent a message to the ventilated for a moment, and then accelerated himself to that direction. But positive space flight is as slow as a snail compared to space jumping, and within a few minutes, the Zerg army flew out of Meng Ze's detection range. About 20 minutes ago, a huge spatial fluctuation suddenly came from ahead, and even the interference of the nebula could not be completely covered. "It's war!" Meng Ze's heart froze. Sure enough, the Zerg guarding the Meng Ze mirror dimensional space suddenly left and galloped away in the direction of the spatial fluctuation. How could Meng Ze make it happen? The spatial solidification was instantly unraveled, and countless cannon fire penetrated into the dimensional space, mixed with the spatial solidification cannon. This is what Meng Ze had just thought about for a while, but was not sure of the effect. The space solidification cannon has been used in the outside world, which can only allow the Zerg troops to condense for a moment, without popping up the dimensional space. But Meng Ze found that because the space in the nebula is relatively weak, the spatial barrier between dimensional space and positive space is relatively easy to break without reinforcement, especially in the case of dimensional storms. Although there is no dimensional storm now, Meng Ze has almost that effect when he uses the black hole cannon, and it is not a loss to try it anyway. Still not. It is estimated that the space wall must be a little more fragile. Meng Ze regretted the results, but then he found another way to use it. The space solidification cannon shot over one after another, and the speed of the relic Zerg troops could not be increased. As if the picture stuttered, between every two spatial solidification cannons, the troops of the relic Zerg moved forward. That gave Meng Ze a chance. Super high-energy neutron cannon. This naval gun, which had not been used since the Meng Ze 6th rank, was finally activated. Just from the perspective of attack power, the ultra-high-energy neutron cannon is actually 10 times the attack power of the black hole cannon. But many times the attack power is not directly equal to the damage, just as Meng Ze's fleet attack power is far more than 100,000 times the Zerg health shield value. But each round can only kill 50,000 or 60,000 Zerg. Field cancellation, dimensional environment weakening, mutual interference between firepower, misses, there are many more damage so that the actual damage caused is much lower than the attack power. The ultra-high-energy neutron gun also has a special ability, and the main gun itself is used to fight against large and super large fixed facilities and buildings, so it has super penetrating ability. Meng Ze only saw such a feature in the description, has not yet used, and now, indeed an opportunity. Neutrons with ultra-high energy condense in the battleship's main gun, and Meng Ze's commands are transmitted to the wisdom brain of each battleship by the wisdom brain card. The brains of all the battleships began to calculate frantically to get the best trajectory and time to shoot. Generally speaking, the simpler the spatial environment, the more accurate this result is, and there are too many dimensional space variables which will have a certain impact on the result. But interstellar warfare cannot strive for perfection in every blow. The results of the brain's calculations were instantly transmitted to Xiaoka, and Meng Ze's side immediately got feedback from Xiaoka. All battleship neutron guns are in place. Fire! Nearly 20,000 thick neutron beams penetrated the space, just in time when the space curing cannon took effect, hitting the relic Zerg. The dimensional space was instantly shattered, and the relics of the Zerg among them were hit and penetrated without any reaction at all. The Zerg blocking the trajectory in the rear were also miserable next to each other and died in the middle. The super strong neutron beam will not only penetrate the body of the Zerg, but the remaining neutron particles will continue to destroy their organizational structure and prevent recovery. Each beam basically hits more than a plurality of Zerg individuals. Obviously, there are only 20,000 beams, but the damage effect caused by this blow is comparable to Meng Ze's previous 2 rounds of blows. Abellic was already anxious like an ant on a hot pot at this time. The first battlefield itself was already in the downwind, the support troops, and they were ambushed by the human fleet, and the hundreds of thousands of troops behind were dragged with explosive hammers. And they couldn't run if they wanted to, and they were already half disabled at this time. Abellic desperately directed the Zerg troops to resist and struggle, but to no avail. The nascent planet is protected by the field generated by the interstellar rules, and cannot be destroyed unless it is slowly destroyed at close range. 5 minutes later, Abellic watched as the advanced life planet resource star fell into the hands of the enemy, and his troops in various positions were defeated and killed. Even if it is a rare resource-producing force, such a huge number makes Abellic feel flesh pain. And most importantly, the other party's losses are much smaller than it. Ah, cool. For a moment, the big guy who was not confused sent a communication, and he did not hide his joy. I've been fighting with the relic Zerg for so many years, and I haven't taken advantage of it so heartily for a long time. Congratulations, big guy. Haha. Drag your blessing. This planet is given to you. The big guy said proudly. Don't, big guy. If you want to send it, you send me a life planet. I don't need a resource star. I'm very rich. Meng Ze didn't get polite with the big guys either. Oh. For a moment, he was not confused and stunned, and then smiled again. Okay, the little brother is so simple. The big guy will send you 5. You send the fleet to the border to hand over. The fleet between commanders, unless it is emergency or hostile, generally does not enter the territory of other commanders, which is an offense in the perception of the commander of the Imperial Federation, so the big guy let Meng Ze hand it over by himself. Thank you, guy. Meng Ze smiled. He searched by himself for most of the day and only found 2 life planets. And as soon as the big guy spoke, it almost saved him 2 days, Zhao Qian's. No thanks, Meng Ze. You are really bold. You dare to touch the Zergas for the first time you enter the nebula to explore. 39. It is said that it is better to be famous than to meet, and Meng Ze's wave made the big guy, who was not confused for a moment, a little impressed. The Zerg is nothing great. You will touch it if you touch it. In case the fleet is gone, continue to make it. Meng Ze said indifferently. Well, it is necessary to have this kind of spirit. Some level 6 players always shrink their hands when doing things for fear that their fleet will lose too much. But how will they know that it is this kind of forward-looking concern that will greatly affect the decision of the moment? And it is a big taboo to be a commander. Brother Xie advised. Meng Ze thanks. Okay. You continue to search, inform each other if there is any situation. In addition, I will send you a location. Remember to receive the planet seed. From this moment on, there was a moment when I was not confused to see Meng Ze as a helper, not the little brother Jun who needed to be taken care of before.
When the matter was settled, Meng Ze quickly ordered the fleet to turn around and leave its original position. In the following time, Meng Ze wandered around the Zerg activity area of the nebula ruins of Kalatbari Mountain while putting the planetary seeds transported back and the planetary seeds obtained from the big guy, who was not confused for a moment, into the planetary orbit. In this wave, the number of planets in Meng Ze's local galaxy suddenly increased from 2 to 11. This is also the upper limit of the planet that the local galaxy can have. After the planet seed is removed from the nebula, it needs to be reactivated. Once activated, it cannot be stopped, and the planet nutrients must be quickly provided, which is actually a large amount of crystal mineral resources. 7 planets spent Meng Ze 1,400 billion crystal mines. But now crystal or resources are a number for Meng Ze. On his original 2 planets, more than 1,000 double super bonanza are in operation, and what is even more outrageous is that AKA also helped him concoct a new mining machine, and the mining efficiency has improved almost limitlessly. His first encounter with the Zerg in the Kalatbari Mountain Nebula made Meng Ze realize that he was still too conservative. With the creation of these 7 new planets, Meng Ze laid down 80,000 spaceship yards at the same time and also adjusted the production ratio of the 2 capital ship types. Every 783 days, the production of destroyers is almost 500,000, and the production of battleships is 50,000. Other Prism-class battlefield surveillance ships and Stellar-class motherships have increased accordingly. Starting on the 3rd day, and every day after that, Meng Ze will have 1 or 2 fleets, large and small, sent to the Kalatbari Mountain Nebula. This is both Meng Ze's established strategy to harass the relic Zerg and cut off their source of development, and it is also a method that Meng Ze uses to hide his true fleet number. Meng Ze didn't just increase the number of warships, he also explored new ways to fight the relic Zerg. The first is naturally the space solidification cannon plus the ultra-high-energy neutron cannon combat method, which affects the action of the relic Zerg through the space solidification cannon, and then uses the ultra-high-energy neutron cannon to strike. The second is the super space disturbance combat method of space solidification gun plus prism-class battlefield monitoring ship, which is mainly used in places where the space stability rate is less than 0.6. Through experiments, when the spatial stability rate is lower than 0.6, in the case of super space disturbance, artificial dimensional storm, applied by the prism-class battlefield monitoring ship, the Zerg troops can be forced out of the dimensional space by the space solidification cannon. At this time, Continue to use the space curing cannon to solidify the positive space and accurately control the arrival of Meng Ze's cannon fire, and remove the curing effect a little time in advance, which can achieve the purpose of dimensionality reduction strike. Even if the Zerg seize the opportunity to enter the dimensional space again, they are still forced out. When the Zerg is in positive space, it is affected by the spatial solidification and cannot launch hyperspace attacks. If you attack through ordinary space, even if the attack is not depleted, it will have to fly at the speed of light for more than a year or two. Meng Ze also has negligence, but as long as he is touched by the relic Zerg, he will use space solidification and dry consumption with the other party, and drag it if he can't fight. Ablik felt like he had been out of luck lately. Since the beginning of an unfamiliar Terran fleet, what has not gone well for me? Fortunately, the Terran fleet was still small, and compared to their hundreds of search troops, it was not a big deal to be interfered with occasionally by one or two, or even killed. But as time went on, a month later, Meng Ze's fleet active in the Kalapari Hill Nebula had exceeded 40. Abellic couldn't back down, and Meng Ze's fleet had severely affected its search for interstellar seeds. With both sides intentionally taking the initiative to fight, smoke rose throughout the area of the activity area of the Nebula Protozog in the Kalapari Mountain, and they were mixed everywhere. The Meng Ze fleet, which has the space solidification capabilities of space curing cannons and Prism-class battlefield monitoring ships, naturally took advantage, forcing Abellic to send 10 times more troops to encircle and suppress the Meng Ze fleet. If you can encircle and suppress AFDF, you have to fly to the mirror dimension space of the Meng Ze fleet with an attack to guard and prevent Meng Ze's fleet from causing trouble everywhere. So after a while, a very funny scene appeared in the Kalapari Mountain Nebula. Most of the mirror space corresponding to the Meng Ze fleet guards a Zerg force, and the two sides are like a life and death couple, walking together in positive space and dimensional space. However, as Meng Ze's fleet grew, 2 months later, the number of troops killed by the relic Zerg and dragged in the Kalapari Mountain Nebula had reached hundreds of millions. How keen the sense of the 6th-level commander was, and the relic Zerg constantly pumped the troops in the territory, which was naturally noticed by the big guys. After the tentative attack, he immediately found the weakness of the Zerg. Immediately seized the opportunity to give the Zerg a violent beating. The relic Zerg gave up more than 50 small galaxies in a row to stabilize the battle line. Abellic was facing a dilemma at this time. How should the combat power be distributed? It could sense that the human fleet was growing more and more, like infinity. If the focus of combat power is placed on the territory, then the side of the Kalapari Mountain Nebula is likely to be unable to defend. But if you put your combat power over there, not to mention the effect, the territory will definitely shrink significantly, and there will even be a danger of destruction. One is to sacrifice development prospects and be slowly consumed, and the other is to compete for development space, but it is likely to be broken. After painfully thinking about it, Abellic decided to abandon most of the Nebula region and go for a while. At this point, Meng Ze's strategy in the Kalapari Mountain Nebula was a big victory. However, Meng Ze did not exterminate the relic Zerg, but limited it to a smaller area, so that the relic Zerg would not completely lose the source of planet seeds, but there was no ability to expand. Command Center. Meng Ze set his sights on his territory. Who would have thought that in just over 2 months, Meng Ze's small galaxy has reached as many as 25. These small galaxies, as few as 7 or 8 planets, as many as 11 planets. These 25 small galaxies plus more than 200 planets form a large star field. Throughout the star field, Meng Ze has placed tight detection, anti-detection measures, and a large number of defensive measures. Just the Radiance-level super fortress numbered more than 1 million. The buildings on the planet are also dense, especially the spaceship yard. The total amount has exceeded 1 million. Abellic only felt that his activities in the Kalapari Mountain Nebula were becoming more and more difficult, but he did not know that in fact, since a month ago, Meng Ze's newly sent fleet had not specifically targeted him, but was just hidden in the nebula, waiting for the day when the mission appeared.
BWK *** River System, the core seat of the Wakana people. Patriarch Sherabi, Just receive the information. Nan Liangjie of the Imperial Federation agreed. Alavana Mayor, the patriarch of the Wakana tribe, stepped forward. The Wakana have a big head, an orangutan-like bulging mouth, no hair on the whole body, and their bodies and limbs are small, which is very improportional. As Alavana Mayor spoke, he bowed his head slightly to show respect for the patriarch. What about the conditions? Patriarch Sherabi tilted his head slightly. Minus asked. Except for life extension, the Wakana are required not to enter the federal territory of the Empire, and everything is settled internally by them. Speaking of this, Alavana Mayor said with some sarcasm, these 6th-level commanders of the Imperial Federation are worthy of being cultivated by the subworld. Even if they lose their virginity, they must set up an archway. It's just the fear of losing power. After countless years as commanders, they have become accustomed to having powerful tools of war, and their encounters and education have made them extremely insecure, and thanks to the immature life extension technology of the Imperial Federation, otherwise we would not have such an opportunity. Sherabi said, what does the Patriarch mean? Promise him that we only need that subworld of the Imperial Federation, and nothing else matters. Sherabi said, Patriarch, do we have to wait like this? Alavana Mayor asked, if you want to achieve great things, how can you be anxious? The subworld of the Imperial Federation is not so easy to take. Not only is the high-dimensional projection that relies on the world very difficult, in case the Imperial Federation hides in the subworld and resists to the end, are you sure to take it down? Sherabi said solemnly. He knew that because no clear progress had been made for a long time, some clansmen in the clan were anxious. What I said just now is a beating, and I also want to give those people an explanation through Alavana Mayor. Patriarch Meng Ze, Alavana Mayor hurriedly said, don't worry, time is on our side. As long as the Zerg continue to drag the Imperial Federation, we have the opportunity to pull their commanders into our camp one by one. Once the time is right, there is no need for us to do it at all. The subworld of the Imperial Federation will be our back. In this way, so as not to face the pressure of the Callista and Darabi civilizations head-on, staring at the 7th-level civilization of that subworld, but we are not the only ones. Understood, Patriarch. You go and arrange it first. Sherabi waved. With the help of the Star Spirit clan, the Wakana clan almost succeeded. But I didn't expect a Zerg to suddenly appear, and the speed of growth and expansion was beyond imagination. In just a few decades, it has transformed from a planetary Zerg to a 6th-level interstellar Zerg. The Star Spirit clan was dragged by the Zerg to slow down the Imperial Federation. The Varkana tribe did not want to race the Zerg, but this Zerg appeared so strangely, and the speed of evolution was unprecedented, and it seemed to have its own inheritance in the genes, which made the Varkana people a bit of a rat thrower. The subsequent changes seemed to confirm this, and after the 6th level, the evolution of the Zerg suddenly seemed to be suppressed, and there was no longer the slightest change. Just because you don't dare to destroy the Zerg doesn't mean you can't use it. Anyway, the Star Spirit race is useless, and the Varkana tribe has built a large-scale space wall in the direction of the Zerg with its back to the Star Spirit race and the Human Federation, forcing the Zerg to expand in the direction of the two races. This move was discovered by the Star Spirit clan, and under the pressure of survival, the other party actually used the telekinesis to steal the 7th-level technology of the Wakana clan, wanting to give it a go. After being discovered, it naturally ended up in the destruction of civilization. Sherabi knew that there were still some remnants of the Star Spirit clan, but he just arranged the hunting and killing mission casually and did not particularly care. At the peak of civilization, it was at the mercy of others, let alone now. In the face of the lower civilization, the Wakana people are naturally at ease, but facing the road ahead makes Sherabi very painful, even a little desperate. The span between the 7th-level civilization and the 8th-level civilization is too large. So far, experts in the Wakana tribe have not even argued about the definition of 8th-level civilization. What is information civilization? What is the core of civilization, and through what manifestation? If it was originally known that the Imperial Federation existed in a subworld, the Wakana tribe was just a little red-eyed when the Imperial Federation was forced by the Zerg and had to use the means of world teleportation, the Wakana tribe had the determination to achieve this world. Regardless of whether the subworld of the Imperial Federation has the core of the 8th level civilization, at least it shows the technology related to the 8th level civilization, which is entirely possible to show the Wakana the direction of civilization. However, there is only one piece of meat, and there are several civilizations in mind. 0. As for flowers, fortunately, the Wakana clan is also extremely powerful in the 7th level, so they have taken the lead. It's just that the risk of hard seizure is too high, and it is easy to attract the intervention of other civilizations in the middle. So Sherby will go to great lengths to use the means of saving the country and start from within the Imperial Federation. Just as the Wakana clan was calculating the Imperial Federation, the Emperor Star Huang family, the main core figures of the family, were gathering together to negotiate through holographic projection. Have you read all the intelligence? What do you think? The speaker was Huang Boyu, Huang Du's great-grandfather, once the deputy commander of the Imperial Federation, who has now taken a back seat. Grandfather, what does this Pu Isin mean? The Imperial Federation has always been orderly. He is just a regional river system administrator, and he actually wants to compete for the commander. Where does he get the confidence? Dream Star Knight Hui, Huang Du's father, Huang Yi, Chief Administrative Officer of Emperor Star, spoke. There is no accurate intelligence, but there are indications that there are 6-level commanders supporting him, and there is more than one. Huang Boyu said. How so? Pu Isin's promotion trajectory has always had little to do with the imperial military, and it seems that there must be something hidden in this. Huang Du's uncle Huang Kai has a bad premonition. Huang Caipu is now a 2-star lieutenant general and a 5th-level commander of the Imperial Federation. He knows more or less about the military. The 6th-level commanders are counted as one. All of them are the core figures of the Imperial Federation, and they have never interfered in the election of commanders. So why did the 6th-level commander support people suddenly appear to run? What's more, this person is still Pu Isin, who has nothing to do with the military. Father, I think we can just wait and see how this matter changes. There are still several years before the election of the commander-in-chief, and the matter will be clear and unknown in the future, not to mention, with the status of my Huang family today, as long as we do not clearly take sides, no matter who comes to power, we will not be offended. Huang Du's grandfather, the 3-star general of the empire, Huang Yue said. Huang Boyu nodded. This is Lao Cheng's serious approach, but we can't be too passive. Xiao Du's current position is very good, very suitable for contacting the commander, especially in the interstellar world. There are still 3 6th-level commanders. Tell him, let him use more snacks. The main purpose of this consultation was to let several key figures in the family know the position of the department in the face of the upcoming election for commander-in-chief. After Huang Boyu said it, several people had a number in their hearts. Milky Way, the former territory of the Ulster civilization. The self-proclaimed leader of civilization is growling at his subordinates. Are you too idle to do? Why stare at the Otero civilization? That's our ally. Ally, you understand? Commander, even if it is an ally, the Otero civilization has done too much. They actually began to attack the small civilizations that depend on us, which seriously violates our original commitment to these civilizations. I think it is necessary to warn them not to cross the line. The subordinate was not convinced and put forward his own opinion. What are our commitments to these civilizations? When they're babysitter? Kurita smiled sarcastically. But, Commander, they are our affiliated civilization. What's the use of that? We are allowing them a high degree of autonomy, but a high degree of autonomy can also be left to fend for themselves. Aiken, don't take these 7 or 83 small civilizations seriously. We have now passed the period when we need their solidarity. 39 Kretus said. Yes, Commander. Aiken sighed in his heart. The commander must know what he really wanted to say, but he avoided talking about it. From the beginning, anyone who is not stupid can find that Kurita has a strong preference for the Otero civilization. I really don't want to see that one day the Otero civilization will be anti-guest and even destroy the entire Ulster civilization. That evening, an uninvited guest suddenly came outside Lieutenant General Aiken's mansion. The figure of the person who came was shrouded in a dark red fog, and he couldn't really see it, but silently looked in the direction of Lieutenant General Aiken's mansion. Come people, help. Lieutenant General Aiken, who was about to rest, suddenly felt that his body was uncontrollable, unable to move, and it was difficult to even open his mouth, struggling to make a faint cry for help. But no one heard him. Aiken, I am your master. Yuriko is not much. The Otero civilization is our common home. Will you be willing to give everything for her? A strange voice came to mind in Aiken's mind, and it was not loud. The first few words, Aiken still has the consciousness of wanting to struggle, and when the sentence is finished, it makes Aiken have a feeling of conviction. Yes, my master, I am willing to give everything for the Otero civilization. Aiken suddenly felt a frenzy in his heart who was willing to give everything for the Otero civilization. My wise servant, restrain your emotions. The Otero civilization still needs to be hidden in the shadows of Ulster, and I am sure you will know how to do it. 39. The voice of the master, named Yuriko, continued to be heard in his head. Master, I see. When Lieutenant General Aiken bowed, the figure outside the mansion suddenly disappeared. Leader, the Ukoda civilization has been controlled, and all opposition has been cleaned up. Graf reported, standing at the bottom of the steps. Graf, we have lived and died together for hundreds of years. In fact, there is no need to deliberately keep a distance. Edwald looked at his long-standing subordinates and partners, and this was not the first time he had said so. Leader, you are now carrying Sarnagar's dying will, the guiding light of the Star Spirit clan, and I must maintain respect for you. Graf insisted. All right, Executive Graf. Edwald sighed. Ever since Sarnagar broke through the blockade and found himself and entrusted the full power of the Star Spirit clan to himself, Edwald found himself with fewer and fewer people around him who could speak. Now even his former partners are alienating themselves. It is not malice, but to maintain the majesty of the leader of the Star Spirit clan. Seeing that Graf was still standing there, about to stop talking, Edwald asked, Graf, executive officer, any more questions? Leader, not many Yurikos have returned, and Kurita's subordinate, Lieutenant General Aiken, has become our man. Graf replied. Edwald was silent for a while. How many are these? Leader, this is the 15th servant that Yuriko does not control much. Graf's voice was a little sad. The dark executive of the Star Spirit clan uses telekinesis to control others, and it is not without cost. Every controlled person's subconscious is generating negative emotions all the time, and these emotions will be transmitted to the dark executive. The dark executive must rely on his own strong will or other mental means to restrain and disperse it. Despite this, the dark executive will also be affected by becoming more and more paranoid and gloomy, becoming the most unpopular type of people in the Star Spirit clan, but their loyalty to the Star Spirit clan is unquestionable. Generally, the dark executive of the Star Spirit clan controls 7 or 8 people is already the limit, and it is easy to be counter-devoured and mad. But now the number of dark executors of the Star Spirit clan is seriously insufficient, and Yuriko is not much as the leader of the dark executives. In order to reduce the pressure on his subordinates, the recent tasks are all taken over by him to personally perform. Zero. After a moment of silence, Edwald suddenly spoke up and said coldly, Graf, I order you, in order of importance, to reduce the number of puppets controlled by the dark executive 30%. Leaders, those people have a huge impact. Graf looked at Edwald in shock. No matter how huge it is, it's only a lower civilization, Graf. We must try not to attract the attention of the Wakana clan, but we can't let the blood and tears of the Star Spirit clan only let a small number of people resist and carry it out. Yes, leader. Graf perked up and said loudly. Standing in the hall, Edwald's gaze seemed to pierce through the void and saw countless factories under construction by the Star Spirit clan. On the surface, under the cover of the Ulster civilization, the Star Spirit clan, wearing the skin of the Otero civilization, is accelerating the pace of development. As a strong man of the spiritual system, Edwald's sixth sense is far beyond ordinary people, and he feels that a powerful force is rising on a certain cantilever of the BCY** galaxy. Do you want to kill it in advance? Edwald was a little undecided because he didn't feel hostility yet. After thinking for a while, Edwald smiled a little self-deprecatingly. I didn't expect that after becoming a leader, I was so daunted. A 6th-level civilization, even if it is a 6th-level remnant, is a big force in the universe 3.5, and it is actually worried about a new force. Send the fleet over to take a look. Edwald made up his mind. Take out a tower-shaped object, which is the chip of Washana Silent. If only we could unlock the secrets. Before Sarnagar died, he handed this thing to him and clearly told him that this was the key to advancing to the 7th level of civilization, the core technology of the Wakana clan. Back then, the Star Spirit clan fought to the death for this thing. Unfortunately, although the things were in hand, the actions of the Star Spirit clan were also exposed. However, Sarnagar had the Star Spirit clan forge a fake one and be destroyed in the war with the Wakana. As for whether the Wakana believe it or not, no one knows. Blue Star. Taiyuan Jingyuan Community. Meng Ze sat comfortably on the balcony of his home. He's been too comfortable lately. In the interstellar world, there is no longer anything to worry about. The size of his fleet is so large that if it weren't for the small car to help him count, he wouldn't know how many there were. In the Kalabari Mountain Nebula alone, there are a number of branch fleets as high as 1,000, and based on an average of more than 300,000 warships per fleet, there are more than 300 million warships. Plus the hundreds of millions of fleets hidden in the star field, and more than 50 million fleets teleported to the BCY *** galaxy. Meng Ze doesn't think anyone else can bother him. Don't be afraid of destroying the ruined Zerg. Things are beyond your control. Meng Ze is sure to kill the ruined Zerg now. Even if Meng Ze himself did not move, the weakness of the Zerg was clearly felt, and due to the tension on the front line of the Imperial Federation, the 3 6th-level executive officers who are now besieging the Zerg began to project troops on a small scale to support the front line. Meng Ze's rapid growth concealed 0-5 from most people, but it could not hide from the 3 6th-level commanders who had been operating in the nebula, especially for a moment when they were not confused. The big guy's area of activity has always been closest to the area of the former ruined Zerg. Now all that I have encountered when I turn around is Meng Ze's fleet, and a relic Zerg force can't be touched, coupled with the weakening of the relic Zerg territory. The planet is not replenished in time, and I don't know what happened to get out of the ghost. However, the big guy did not pursue the bottom line, but silently assigned the original relic Zerg activity area to Meng Ze, and let Meng Ze write a report, and the 3 bigwigs signed it, confirming Meng Ze's merits. Now, Meng Ze is a 2nd-class commander and has been promoted to the rank of Major of the 1st class. But aside from changing 2 badges, Meng Ze didn't feel much of a difference. For Meng Ze's promotion, the long-lost Dream Star Knight, Glowing Boss, can send a communication to congratulate him, which is rare. Contact with Blue Star should be on the agenda. Meng Ze thought to himself. Considering the acceptance of Blue Star and the friendly gesture, Meng Ze decided to send a stellar-class mothership to visit first. In this way, you should not be scared. There are not even weapons outside the mothership. I don't know if this is a disguised return home. Meng Ze was cranky in his head and enjoyed himself. Xiaoka, say hello to the people in my hometown and inform them that someone is coming to visit. After thinking for a while, Meng Ze sent an order to the Xi brain card in the command center through Acre. Blue Star. Command and Control Center of the headquarters of the Xia State Aerospace Force Apocryphal. Lieutenant General Liu Jie quickly stepped into the control room of the command center and immediately asked, "What is the situation?" Report Lieutenant General Liu. Just now our satellite intercepted a set of regular signals and was about to decipher them, but this string of signals was automatically decoded, leaving such a string of text on our screen. Colonel Li Yuan, head of the command center, saluted and said. Lieutenant General Liu Jie looked up at the big screen, only to see that it was displayed. "Hello, Blue Star people. This is the Imperial Federation. We will make a friendly visit to Blue Star. Please be prepared. Hereby announce." Could it be a coincidence? Lieutenant General Liu Jie asked with a solemn expression. Probably not. This information appears 3 times in a row. and each time it is the same content after automatic decoding. And the source code I have verified, which is different from any known encoding rules of Blue Star. 35 Colonel Li Yuan said solemnly. This matter was too bizarre. Colonel Li Yuan naturally did not dare to report it at will, and personally repeatedly verified the information received. Is there any time for the other party to report? There is no specific time. Raise the alert level of the command center to 1 level. Report any abnormalities immediately. You immediately write a briefing of this incident. Attach the source code and hand it to me. I will report it to me as soon as possible. Lieutenant General Liu did not waste time and immediately issued an order. Yes, I'll do it right away. Turning his gaze back at the text on the screen, Lieutenant General Liu Jie was confused. If there are really aliens visiting, others can carry out interstellar voyages. At least it can show that the level of science and technology is higher than that of Blue Star, and the probability will be much higher. I hope the other party really has good intentions. At this time, there was nothing else to think, and Lieutenant General Liu Jie could only expect so in his heart. Eagle Sauce Home, the prototype of the afterthought in the movie Defense Minister Abe, also received reports from subordinates at this time. However, what? You said that you received an alien message, and then the alien message was automatically decoded and displayed as Chinese? Are you sure you're not kidding me? Abe looked disbelieving. Admiral Abe, we have repeatedly confirmed that this is indeed the case. 33 Major General Payu Pierce from the National Reconnaissance Service, NRO, was helpless. Who would have thought that the aliens would actually send Chinese? Could it be that the influence of Xia Kingdom in the universe has surpassed my great United States? Could it be Xiag was pranked or hacked? Eagle-chan usually does a lot of this kind of thing. The #1 network rogue, Admiral Abe, thought of this factor for the first time. Admiral Abe, we have informed the National Security Agency, NSA, as soon as possible, and the other side has sent security experts to check the system, and there is no result yet. 5. Notify me immediately of the results. Even if there are no results, report to me on time in an hour, and I will report to the President in an hour. Admiral Abe said. Damao Family Defense Ministry Building. Defense Minister Shaiba also received a report from the command of the Aerospace Forces. 783. Have you verified the information? Shaiba frowned. The report, Admiral, after repeated verification, has ruled out the possibility of a prank. The subordinate confirmed. You go back first, stick to your post, raise the realm level to the highest, and report even if there is a situation. Yes, Admiral. Goodbye, Admiral. After waiting for his subordinates to leave, Shaiba picked up the confidential phone and dialed a secret department. Help me contact the Ministry of Defense of Xia Country, and in half an hour, ask the other party to send someone to talk to me, saying that it is a problem to understand the space signal. 99. In addition to the 3 major military powers of Xiagua, Ingshan, and Damao, other countries with communication satellites operating in space, such as Gallic Chicken, John Cow, Stick Foot Basin Chicken, Shaori, Batai, Asan, etc., have received information sent by small cards. However, because of Meng Ze, no matter which country received the information, all the information displayed after decoding is Chinese. Countries that are friendly or relatively friendly with Xiagua naturally call the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Xiagua as soon as possible to communicate the situation. In those countries that have bad relations with Xiagua or are wary of Xiagua, the first reaction is to check whether their satellite system is controlled by Xiagua. A piece of information made many countries in Blue Star nervous.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.